We will see about how I used Tailwind CSS in Angular project to style these basic pricing card layouts. So this layout is a little bit responsive. So for the larger screens, it is in a single row, whereas when I resize this window for the medium and the smaller screens, these card items are stacked one below the other. So once your Angular project is installed, you go to your VS Code terminal and try to npm install Tailwind CSS, Post CSS, and Auto Prefixer. So once these three packages are getting installed, do npx tailwind init so that your Tailwind configuration file is getting generated. So in your Tailwind configuration file, you have to include this Tailwind CSS and Auto Prefixer plugins. So once this is done, in the style.sss file, make sure to include these three set of folders from the Tailwind. So once these three steps are done, now you are ready to use the Tailwind in your Angular project. I created the pricing cards component and it created the 4 files under the pricing cards folder. Now let's collapse the side panel and focus on the HTML content. So this HTML has the cards container which is having all the 3 card items. And I'm looping through the price cards, and for each card item I'm printing the title, price, and the description. So where does this data come from? So the TS file that is corresponding to the HTML file is having a static array, and in this static array it's having the title, price, and description corresponding to these individual card items, and this title, price, and description are being mapped onto my HTML content. This HTML component does not have any Tailwind specific classes applied to these developments. Why? Because I would rather not apply a long list of Tailwind specific classes to each of these developments, which makes it difficult to understand my component rendering logic and also the mapping between the TS file and the HTML content. So I would not include the long list of Tailwind classes here at the HTML level. So in the pricing card component SCSS file, we have custom classes which are nested under the parent classes, and these classes are corresponding to the classes that we define in the component HTML file, right? So here we are applying a list of Tailwind specific classes through this apply directive. So this apply directive is going to apply the styles which are corresponding to the Tailwind classes. So it means that it's going to grab all of these styles, and all these styles will be applied to this custom classes. In that case, you can also break down this Tailwind list of classes into multiple apply directives. So all these individual classes will be applied to this the card item class, which is a custom class here. And also we can mix and match our custom styles along with this Tailwind specific classes here. Okay, and you don't need to remember all these individual Tailwind specific classes because Tailwind is going to prompt you with this class Tailwind classes just like this. See, for example, I'm going to include orange and a version of 500 here. So on hover, this button is going to be changed in orange background color. Where do I get this IntelliSense from? Because I installed a Tailwind CSS IntelliSense extension, and I've already installed it so that you get the prompting for the Tailwind specific classes here, just like P2 or M2 or anything, whichever is available in the documentation. So one place where I really love including this Tailwind classes within my component CSS file is that of the responsive designing. So take example of this cards. I apply this flex call class for the smaller and the medium screens, whereas for the larger screens it is changed to flex row. So when I resize this window to the larger screen, it is going to apply this flex row effect into my card elements, right? And also this pseudo effect, if you see, for the larger screens, it is going to be scaled up to 125, whereas for the smaller screens, it is going to be scaled a little bit only. So the scale effect is a little bit less for the smaller and the medium screens, whereas for the larger screens, the scaling is a little bit more on the hover effect. And we can also do some sort of animation effects, and just like this animate pulse effect on hover. So no need to write any specific styles for this animation. Instead you can just like that include those animate pulse class, and this is start animating just like this. And if you want to include any other animation effects, use the prompting, and I'm going to use this animate ping here. It's going to be give the ping animation. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys.